Well, this is the scene at London Bridge tonight. The whole area cordoned off as police continue their investigations. A dark day in the capital. We will have all the latest information for you as we get it throughout the evening on BBC News. But that is it from us for now. Goodbye.
Good evening, I'm Riz Latif. Welcome to BBC London and to viewers across the country joining us on the BBC News channel. We are here by London Bridge, which is in lockdown, as is the surrounding area, as we've been hearing as police and this city once again deals with a terrorist incident. As we have been hearing in the last few minutes, 2 members of the public have been killed in this attack. Several others are injured and the attacker has been shot dead. Now, for those people who are just joining us now or coming home from work, let me just recap what we know so far. It was on this bridge earlier this afternoon at around 2 o'clock that armed police shot dead a man believed to be wearing a hoax explosive device. Now, there were some terrifying scenes for people who were around. It's a busy time of day, and those that were in offices surrounding it. But as the mayor put it, we also saw some breathtaking heroism because members of the public ran towards the man who had a knife and they restrained him before police stepped in. Now, hopefully we will get an update on some of those who are injured later on. We will also hear from some eyewitnesses as well, because not only is this attack echo the one 2.5 years ago on London Bridge, but it also saw some remarkable acts of heroism again. So we will hear about that later on. But first tonight, Tom Edwards reports on how events unfolded here this afternoon, and also some of those who saw and filmed what happened.
This footage shows what seemed to be ordinary Londoners again tackling a terrorist on London Bridge. Officers intervene. It happened on the north side of the Thames. 2 years ago, London Bridge was the scene of a terrorist attack.
There appeared to be a fight going on the other side of the bridge with several men attacking one man. Police then quickly arrived, including armed police, and then a number of shots were fired at this man.
From the top of a bus, here a man with a blue tie is seen running from the incident with what looks like a knife in his hand. We won't show it, but moments later, an armed officer opens fire.
Oh my God.
I just heard a lot more gunshots and people started to run off the bridge.
Just before 2 o'clock, it started. Phone footage taken from nearby offices shows crowds fleeing from London Bridge. Here, school children are seen running down the street as emergency services were quickly on the scene.
Within the space of about 20 seconds, there was multiple gunshots that we heard. I mean, there was people in the cafe opposite us, Farmer J's, and at first they'd closed all the doors, but then the police opened the doors and made everybody sort of sprint out all at once. It was very panicky, but it seems like the police dealt with it quite well. They got everybody out of the area pretty quick.
Oh, it's all kicking off.
As a major incident was declared, here footage shows police confronting a white lorry on the bridge as they put in a large exclusion zone quickly.
But clearly they did deal with this pretty quickly and pretty decisively, it looks like, in terms of what this eyewitness told me in terms of the shots being fired against that individual, as he seems to have been already down on the bridge when that happened, the eyewitness told me.
Do we need to do the contingency?
2.5 hours after the incident, police confirmed a man was shot dead at the scene and a number of people were injured. This family was one of many caught up in the chaos.
The restaurant owners were just come in, and they locked the restaurant down, switched all the lights off, all the lights in the kitchen went off, and we were just told to get on the floor. So I think from sitting just enjoying a meal to that so quickly, obviously it was quite scary for all of us.
This was the day terror again came to London Bridge. Again, it seems Londoners stopped this attack becoming much worse. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
So just to clarify, police are treating this as a terrorist incident. Well, someone who saw what happened is Amir Eden, because you live very close by, and actually you were also here the last time this happened. So just tell us first of all what you saw today.
So today I was walking home, going through Borough Market essentially, on the southern side of London Bridge, and all I heard was a loud couple of bangs, and they sounded like gunshots. Then people started screaming, people started shouting, and I sort of ran as well, started running away, and it felt afterwards. Obviously, I knew a bit more about it, and it felt very like deja vu, really, like June 2017.
So was that your first thought, not again?
Yeah, essentially, not again. Another attack on our community, and what's happening with the rest of the residents, the other people that live in the local area. That was really my concern, and felt really frightened, really, and sort of annoyed and angry a little bit that it's happening again, and yeah.
And what was the atmosphere and the mood like around you while this was going on?
Everyone was in sort of fear and panic, but once more police had arrived, and they did arrive quite swiftly, people felt a bit more reassured, and they were being told where to go, although still frightened, but very much fear, because no one really knew what was happening, and we didn't know until quite later.
And for you, this brings back memories of what happened here before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was walking up Duke Hill Street, which goes up to the southern bit of where the van crashed. I saw the van crashing in, police coming, and all that sort of stuff. And it sounds like a very similar thing. And whilst the community here now are very resolute and much more closer, we always thought that it would only happen once in a community and it wouldn't come back. So it's another thing to live through again, really.
Well, Amir, thank you for talking to us. We wish you the best, and thank you once again. Like you say, as Amir said there, you never think it can happen again. This was a very, very busy time of day. As you can imagine, it's a busy area. It was around 2 o'clock. So it was another traumatic day for people like Amir and others caught up in it. Tara Welsh has been speaking to a mother and daughter who were on opposite sides of the bridge when it happened.
On the north side of the bridge, hundreds of people have been evacuated from offices and restaurants. Here we met Jane, who'd been inside one. She's just had a phone call from her daughter, Emily.
Well, she was caught up in it because they had to take shelter in a place in Borough Market.
Is your daughter okay?
She is. Shaken, but okay, yes.
On the south side of the bridge, we found Emily. She'd been working on a food tour in Borough Market.
I saw people running past the shop, people started running in, people were screaming, there were armed police, and we were all just standing in there. And I was crying, and other people were crying, and we were just standing there for maybe 5 minutes.
She hid with several others at the back of an oyster shop.
There were people crouching behind me, so I couldn't really get any further. We were all like face to face. I was leaving a voicemail for my mom because she wasn't answering the phone. Love you, Mom. I was leaving her a really terrifying voicemail, and I heard loads of shouting outside. So half of me was like, someone's come down from the bridge. More police came running and basically shouted at us to run and go. They were like, go this way, go around the corner, and get out.
Emily and the tour she was leading eventually got to safety, and now she's going home.
What are you going to say to your mum?
Mostly sorry for the voicemail. That was really stressful of me. And then also, just, I love you.
People reacting to the shock of what happened here. Well, people who were injured were treated and taken to Royal Hospital London. Let's join Wendy Hurrell, who's there for us this evening.
Well, the BBC understands that 2 of the most serious casualties were brought here to the Royal London Hospital in East London. When I arrived here at about 4 o'clock this afternoon, the hospital was on complete lockdown. There were lots of patients trying to get in for routine appointments. We spoke to one man who was desperate to get in for his kidney dialysis appointment, not looking very well at all. This is one of 4 major trauma centres across London. And these are well-practiced plans because in 2017, during that attack at London Bridge and Borough Market, many of the casualties were brought to this hospital and treated by the consultants and doctors that were subsequently recognised for their work here. We don't know this evening the condition of the two people that were brought to this hospital. We're still waiting to hear that, but they have been treated here at the Royal London Hospital in the major trauma unit. Riz.
OK, Wendy, thank you very much, Wendy. This is, of course, an ongoing investigation. Let's hear now from Assistant Commissioner Neil Basu, who's also the head of counter-terrorism, what he had to say on events here today. But he was speaking before that confirmation that two people had sadly died.
I can confirm that at approximately 2 p.m. today, Friday the 29th of November, police were called to a stabbing at a premises near to London Bridge EC1. Emergency services attended, including officers from the City of London Police and the Metropolitan Police. A male suspect was shot by specialist armed officers from the City of London Police, and I can confirm that this suspect died at the scene. A number of other people received injuries during this incident. As soon as we can provide further updates on their condition, we will. And our heartfelt sympathies go out to everybody who's been involved in this and is anxiously waiting for information on their loved ones. As soon as we can get that information, we will get it to you. As you would expect, due to the nature of the incident, we responded as though this was terrorist related. I'm now in a position to confirm that it has been declared a terrorist incident. We are working jointly with the City of London Police as we continue to respond. Officers from the Met's Counter-Terrorism Command are now leading this investigation, but I must stress we retain an open mind as to any motive. It would be inappropriate to speculate further at this time. Due to reports that the suspect may have had an explosive device, specialist officers also attended the scene and wide cordons are in place to ensure there remains no further danger to the public. However, I can confirm at this time we believe a device that was strapped to the body of the suspect is a hoax explosive device. Officers continue to carry out meticulous searches in the area to ensure there is no outstanding threat to the public. Those extensive cordons will remain in place for a considerable time, and I would ask the public, please continue to avoid the area. Public safety is obviously our top priority. We will be enhancing police patrols both in the city and across London. I would ask anyone with information, image or footage of the incident that can be shared with our investigation team to do so on the UK Police Image Appeal website. I would also ask the public to continue to remain vigilant and report any concerns that they have to the police.
The head of counter-terrorism speaking there before the news confirmation that two members of the public have died in this incident. Let's talk to our Home Affairs correspondent, Catherine Carpenter. It wasn't that long ago, was it, that the terror threat had been lowered?
No, just at the beginning of this month, on the 4th of November, the UK terror threat was lowered for the first time in 2 years. It was reduced from severe to substantial, meaning that it was now believed a terror attack was considered likely rather than highly likely. And at that time too, we were given a sense of the scale of the terror threat to this country. Counter-terrorism policing said that at that time they currently had 800 live operations, and that since March 2017 they had foiled 24 attack plots. So a sense there really of the scale of the problem the police have been facing. The police, with regard to this incident, say they really are now relying on the help of the public. We heard there they want images anyone has gathered to be sent to a special dedicated website, and also I'll reiterate it now, the anti-terrorism hotline for anybody who has information they think might help the police. That is 0800 789 321.
And for people living and working in London, a terrible sense of déjà vu. Tonight, police patrols have been stepped up.
Absolutely. We know that Londoners are very resilient in these situations, but the police obviously wanting to reassure those going about their everyday business that they are safe, or as safe as they can be now. Policing patrols are going to be stepped up. We're going to see more police at transport hubs, British Transport Police, more people on patrol across the rest of the capital, and also more firearms officers across the capital, really there for reassurance.
OK, for now, Catherine, thank you. Well, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has been giving his reaction to what's happened here today and praising the emergency services and Londoners. He was at Scotland Yard, and that's where we can join our political correspondent Carl Mercer right now. Carl.
Yeah, whereas on Dayside today, there's always a massive police operation, isn't there? But there is also a huge job to be done of public reassurance, and that job falls largely on the shoulders of the Mayor of London, as it did 2.5 years ago when London had those 4 terror attacks, including, of course, the one at London Bridge. And a little earlier today, as part of that public reassurance, the Mayor was here at Scotland Yard giving a press conference, after which I caught up with him and asked him for his reaction to today's events.
Yeah, but look, I mean, incredibly distressing what we've seen this afternoon. Many viewers will have seen the horrible images on London Bridge, but I'm hoping they've also seen the remarkable acts of bravery from Londoners who, ran towards this very, very dangerous man who had a huge knife, who'd just recently seriously injured others. And, I'm so proud of these ordinary Londoners, but also our police who responded so quickly, but for their heroism, who knows how worse it could have been.
And those Londoners who did run towards the man did so thinking he had a vest on, which it turns out wasn't active.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but in that moment, in those moments, those ordinary Londoners and the police had no idea what this man had on him. What they did know, he had a huge knife. All they did know was people had been injured, and they ran towards him, apprehended him, and stopped him doing further damage. But also we do now know, and the Assistant Commissioner Neil Bass has confirmed this, head of the counter-terror team, that he had what appeared to be a suicide bomb on him. We now know it was a hoax, but these remarkable human beings had no idea, and they ran towards him, took the knife off him, and kept him down and pinned him down until the police got there.
What lessons do you think we've learnt in the last 2 years? Because it was just over 2.5 years ago that we had 4 other attacks here in London, again during the general election campaign.
One of the things about terrorism, you see the worst of humanity, but also the best of humanity in London. We saw the worst of humanity with this man, who is a terrorist, trying to kill, injure, maim as many people as possible. But also we saw the very best of us in trying to stop him causing further damage and mayhem. There is always lessons to learn. One of the things about terrorists is they evolve and find new ways to terrorise us, in their words, and to cause us damage. We've got to find and evolve new ways to keep us safe. So the good thing is that we're always evolving and learning from incidents that happen not just in London but around the world. And we have, you saw the response from those police officers. They very quickly, and shot this man who could have caused more damage.
Final one to you. I mean, can Londoners feel safe tonight? Should they feel safe?
Look, I want to say to Londoners, be really proud of the response from not just our police, but from fellow Londoners who ran towards danger to make sure we're as safe as we can be. All the intelligence we have, and I'm not complacent, I'm the least complacent person you'll find, is that this so far appears to be an isolated incident, but we know from our history over decades that terrorists and bad people want to harm us. We know that we're a target, and since 2017 when we had those 4 awful attacks in our city, there have been more than 20 that have been thwarted. And I'm afraid the bad news is, the experts say there has been a shift in the activity of terrorists and would-be terrorists, not a spike. And so all of us have a responsibility to be vigilant. If anybody sees anything at all suspicious or, of course, a source of concern, please report it to the police. I'd rather you err on the side of caution and over-report than under-report.
Yeah, one other thing the Mayor did add was that he hoped there would be a pause of 24 hours in campaigning for the general election as a mark of respect to those who we now know have lost their lives and those who've been injured. Back to you, Riz.
Carl, thank you. And in fact, we have just heard that the political parties have suspended campaigning for today, following on from what you just said. And we heard Carl say there, didn't he? Can Londoners feel safe? Well, James Waterhouse has been getting reaction from commuters about today's news, some of whom are still trying to get home. Let's join him now. James.
Riz, good evening. Yes, we're just a bit further round the cordon from where you are on the South Bank. Behind us you can see London Bridge, the hospital as well, which has been in lockdown all afternoon, as well as the station. But in the last few minutes, London Bridge station and tube has just reopened. But throughout the afternoon, we've been seeing Londoners trying to get to work, hospital appointments, as well as bus drivers being told to turn off their engines earlier on and get away from the area. It's been an afternoon where Londoners have had to take stock.
I was at work last time it happened, but I'm ex-military, so more so concerned about my customers that I had. So I went out and asked the police, should I make them leave? Should I make them stay? First they said, just keep them inside. So I told them, if you're staying, you're going to be here a while. Otherwise, you need to leave. Then they came back and said, no, they all need to leave. Then they came and said, we need to leave. So we just kind of locked up, and it's unfortunately things like this are happening in the world. I don't know how we go about stopping it.
A lot of us, we just ran into the basement, and that was it. And then we were told to come out. Now we're here, and it's quite shocking.
And how are you feeling now you're here? You've seen the helicopter overhead, you've got a sense of what's happened.
I'm shaking, it's absolutely frightening that this has happened. And it happened so quickly as well.
It's a bit eerie. When we left the hotel, we were the only two pedestrians in the area. The police escorted us off. But
you can't help the what-ifs running through your mind.
We were just basically in one of the stores, and all of a sudden loads of people started running past, and we were in the Holland and Barrett store, and everybody started to rush into there, and then we just had to close the door.
Well, how did you feel at the time?
No, it was like scary because everybody was kind of running past, and we actually didn't know what was happening. And then the police came over and said, like, you need to leave the store, and so we were told to evacuate, close the doors, and make your way out.
So the advice is, if you're still hoping to get a train to southeast England or southeast London as well, tickets are being accepted in other surrounding stations. There's a huge amount of traffic disruption on Southwark Bridge and Tower Bridge, so the advice is stay well away. And just to reiterate the advice from police officers, stay alert, and they say they're putting on extra patrols. Riz, back to you.
OK, thanks very much for that update, James. Now, if you just look behind me, London Bridge. It was the same scene here about 2.5 years ago when a terrorist attack took place, and just further along there into Borough Market as well. So this, sadly, will have echoes of that, particularly for people in this area. Bhavani has been speaking to some of them.
Abdullah has been running his Moroccan cafe from opposite Borough Market for the last 11 years. This afternoon, he was alerted to the terror attack on London Bridge when he saw people running away down the street. This brought back familiar but unwanted emotions for him.
It's not memories you would like to remember. Memories you would like to put behind you and look forward. Yeah, it's not good for no one.
2 years ago, people took refuge in nearby businesses when 3 men launched an attack in the London Bridge area in which 8 people were killed. Then many people were led to safety, just as they were led from the scene today. For many of the people living and working near here, today's events have reminded them of the London terror attack just over 2 years ago, which led to this whole area being locked down, much like it is this evening. Shops, restaurants and Borough Market itself have been closed up early on what should have been a bustling and busy Friday night in the capital. But instead, workers evacuated from their offices were left wondering how to get home.
I think a lot of people will be taken aback by it, and it does bring back memories for lots of people, including some of my colleagues. But, our main priority is just focusing on making sure we're all safe, which we are.
Back at the cafe, these dentistry students were evacuated from a lecture at Guy's Hospital from within the cordon.
So I actually live really close by as well. This incident did happen a couple of years back as well, and obviously
being really close to the incident and other terrorist attacks does make it really scary at times.
Having it happen so close to where we study, it's worrying because it could happen again. We could be caught in it next time. We might not be lucky enough to be in a lecture.
So once again, uncertainty for those in this area after today's disturbing events. Bhavani Vadi, BBC London, Borough Market.
Now at this point we're going to say goodbye to viewers on the BBC News channel. Thank you for joining us here at London Bridge. Now though, let's pause for a moment and get a check on the weekend weather with Thomas Schaffernacker. Thomas, thanks very much. Well, still very, very busy here, as you can imagine. You can also hear, I think, an alarm going off there. Catherine, our Home Affairs correspondent, is still with me. As we said, an ongoing investigation tonight.
Absolutely, and even if you just take a look behind us, you can see there are lots of London buses parked up. Getting this city back to normal is going to take quite a bit of effort, but London is resilient. We've been here before, unfortunately, and we know that Londoners will get up and go about their weekend as usual tomorrow. As far as the police go, well, for many of them this will have been a very challenging day. For many of them too, the work really only just beginning, that investigation getting underway. Of course, the IOPC also now involved. They'll be taking a look at the police's actions in all of this, of course, because one man has been shot dead. But I think too a lot of sympathy and thought for the police here today. I came here by tube. At the station there were officers outside, members of the public, thanking them for the work they were doing.
OK, Catherine, thank you. Well, as we heard the Mayor say earlier, I think the best of humanity and the worst of humanity. We will leave you tonight with images of a difficult day in London, but one that also saw remarkable acts of bravery from Londoners. Bye-bye.